Get ready as Fighters Inc. presents 5 rounds in the FightMad Zone with the biggest names from the world of combat sports. Hosted by Joe Long. This is the FightMad Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FightMad Podcast, hosted by myself, Joe Long, from Fighters Inc. as we approach our 25th year in the combat sports sector. If you haven't already, give us a follow. Hit the subscribe button at FightMad Podcast and also give us a follow on all social media at Fighters Inc. Also, we're on YouTube. Don't forget the YouTube channel, which is starting to build a little bit now. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've had some amazing guests. This week is week 10. We're going into double figures, and I'm delighted to welcome our first ever current, I'm on about right now, current world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going boxing this week. The reigning WBA Featherweight champion of the world, reigning from Nottingham, Mr. Leigh Wood. Leigh, welcome to the FightMad Podcast, my friend.
What's happening, mate? You all right?
How you been?
Busy, mate. Busy. Since the fight, it's been surreal. But yeah, I'm good, mate. You all right?
I'm good, Leigh. It's lovely to have you on. Lovely to have a member of UFC, Jim Knotts, on the podcast as well. Tell our listeners, Leigh, what you've been up to lately. I know, obviously, since the fight, since the win, the W, you've been dragged left, right, and centre for media obligations, promotional obligations, interviews, etc., etc. Has there been a big Has there been a big change for you?
Massive change. As we knew before heading into that fight, it was a life-changing fight, and it has changed my life in many areas. Getting recognised a lot more everywhere I go in Nottingham. It's nice. I'm not complaining. But I've been busy with sponsors today. Been over to Skinny Foods and just done some bits and bobs with them. Had a laugh, bit of bacon and that. I've had an operation on my shoulder as well recently, so it's all about rehab at the minute, day to day, working on that, doing what I can, bit of running, bit of this, bit of that, and just working around that shoulder, building it back to where it needs to be for my next fight.
Brilliant. And we'll come on to the next fight, no doubt, before the end of the podcast, because I think there's been a few whispers this week, hasn't there?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, it's. But when something happens with rumours and announcements, my phone just goes into meltdown. It's only just starting to slow down again. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for my next fight. It's a big one.
It's going to be a big one indeed. Right, we ready to go into the FightMad Zone?
Let's do this.
Seconds out. Round 1.
Let's go. Round 1. What is Leigh Wood's first ever fight memory?
Official boxing or fight or anything related, anything at all?
Your first fight memory. So that could have been in the playground. That could have been in your amateur boxing club.
So I'll say, without rules on the street, as I say, I was at my mum's best friend's wedding, and I was playing pool with a kid very similar age, and my sister was really young at the time, and she was running around the table, and she kept moving the balls. And this lad I was playing pool with, obviously, was someone's son just at the wedding. And he was getting a bit pissed off, so he said "Oh, stop moving the balls" to my sister. I said, "Look, go and play over there." She was only really young. Can't remember how young she was. Probably 6 or 7. I was really young. So anyway, she come back again and she moved some balls on his go, and I think he turned around and he hit her on the back with his cue, and hit on the cue, and I didn't really think about it, just how I felt. I was quite angry about it. I was really emotional, what's going off like? So I was like, what are you doing? And he said something or done something, and before you know it, I was punching him. I was punching him, and I was only really young. And
what's really young, Leigh?
I think I was in either my last year at primary school or my first year at secondary school, so I was probably 10 or 11.
Got it. Yeah.
That age, it's not really, you don't really think about fighting. It's like fight or flight, and actually you're either going to do something or you're not going to do something. And I just decided to do something, and I started punching this kid, and there's blood all over the shop, and I think someone had to come drag me off him But it really, I think, because it was emotional, it was my sister, and like, yeah, it was quite a unforgettable moment. And that was the first time I recall punching someone, and he deserved it as well. He wasn't like
No, he definitely deserved it.
He deserved it. That's my out of boxing first fight experience. In boxing first fight experience, I think everyone always remembers the first fight. Sean Fennessy, his name was, in Retford, and I was 12 years old for my first amateur fight, and I won, and it was a great night. I got my trophy, a free trophy, and pie and peas, and I sat there with the trophy in my hand all night, eating my pie and peas, and yeah, I'll never forget it.
Brilliant. And that was with Phoenix Amateur Boxing Club, right?
Phoenix Amateur Boxing Club, yeah.
And was you with them throughout all of your amateur career, Leigh?
So I was with them for about 10 years.
Yep.
Coaches came and went, and the club kind of went a bit stale. Like, there's no one there, and like, it was unreliable. So then I went to Terry Allen Unique. I think it was like 2009 or 10. And I went to Terry Allen Unique, proper good setup, proper gym. And then I went on to Team GB. So yeah. Great.
So it's going down in the FightMad books. First fight memory, around the pool table, at your mum's best friend's wedding, over your sister moving some balls. It sounds like a film.
I wish I could see the footage of the shot. I can't remember the shots too much. I just remember I was getting pulled off, and he was bent over the pool table, and I was throwing some straight shots. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't think when emotion gets the better of you, especially when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my first encounter, I think.
I'm sure that there's a lot of stories to be told around pool tables. I don't know about pool tables at weddings, but that's a new one on me. But we're going to go into round 2. Great first answer.
Seconds out. Round 2.
I think you've spoke before on some of your favourite fighters or bouts, specifically the Eric Morales trilogy of fights between Barrera.
Yeah, definitely.
But question 2 for every guest on the FightMad podcast: who is your all-time favourite fighter and why?
So there's more of like a group of fighters. I never really looked up to one single fighter, but I tried to like look at how I boxed and other similar like body types to me. And I remember watching loads of Morales growing up, like obviously the trilogy with Barrera, and I still love Eric Morales, obsessed with watching all his fights, sparring tapes and stuff. There's another fella called Edwin Valero, who's a big puncher, southpaw. I used to watch a lot of him. Even Johnny Owen, I used to watch a bit of him as well. And obviously from my mum from next door, the same school, the same village, the same amateur club, Carl Froch. So it was a massive inspiration for me, probably the biggest inspiration coming through.
Really? So you'd put Carl Froch down as your biggest inspiration coming through for boxing?
Yeah, just because it was so relatable. Like I said, the same school, the same amateur club, the same area, very similar people. And obviously, he was the first fighter I seen train hard properly in person when I was like 10 years old in the gym on a Sunday morning, or 11 years old, and just straight away you look up to where the bar is and where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm. And how far away was that bar from you, Leigh? Like age wise, time wise, level wise?
It was a long way. It was probably 10 years away.
10 years away.
Yeah.
But you could see the bar. What he was setting as such.
It was more of he's where I want to be.
Yeah.
He's doing what I want to do. Because I was just a boy, a very young boy, and there was all men in the gym.
Sure. So
your body takes time to develop. And when you're young, everything seems like 1 week seems like months, and years seem like 10 years. It looks so far away, but when you get there, it's like that.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna. So if you have to pick one, we're gonna go with Carl Froch.
Inspiration, yeah. My favourite fighter to watch, obviously growing up, for entertainment value, was probably someone like Naz. Obviously unbelievable entertainment to watch the fight, the entrance, the knockouts, and everything else. But just for inspiration, for being relatable, I'm going Carl Froch.
Brilliant, tremendous. Keeping it in Nottingham.
Absolutely.
all the way. Brilliant. We're going to move on to round 3.
Seconds out. Round 3.
This is where we go a little bit deeper, dig in the trenches a little bit. For yourself, Leigh, what has been the biggest fight you've had to overcome in your life, and why?
I'm gonna say, obviously, boxing's always what I've never wanted to do anything else since I first stepped into a gym, 10, 11. I never wanted to do anything else other than box. Wanted to be world champion, wanted to just box for a living, travel the world, and it's my passion, you know. And I think when you find your passion, nothing else matters. Everything else is around it, yeah. But then obviously when I turned pro and got up to the Ingle gym, and I was there for 7 or 8 years, full time, week in, week out, and I wasn't where I wanted to be by a certain age. So I think one of the hardest things for me was leaving a gym that I thought I'd be at for my whole career, and having to leave that gym, leave the trainer, leave my manager to take a necessary step in my career to develop. That was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life. Obviously, because of Brendan Ingle was my mentor. He pulled me into that gym. He basically said, "Look, when you turn pro, you need to be doing this, you're doing that." And he taught me a lot, and I learned a lot over the years. And Brendan passed away, and I stayed at the gym probably a little bit too long after he passed away with Dominic Ingle. And like I said, the hardest thing for me was leaving that gym and then taking a leap of faith to go somewhere else. I thought obviously I'd be there for my whole career.
It's a tough sport, boxing, isn't it? Or any combat sports, when you've got to make them decisions, and everyone's so passionate around you and your team.
In life as well, like, you know, you sometimes have to take a risk, and it may pay off, it may not. But if you don't take that risk and you stay where you are, you're definitely not going to move anywhere. Because if you was going somewhere, you won't be thinking about taking that move. So for me, it's a risk. It was a risk I had to take, and it's a risk that paid off. And if I'd not took that risk and I'd not made that move, I'd have still been where I was, and I'd have not got anywhere. I'd not done anything in boxing, 100%. I'd have been stuck in the same place. So I made that move. I took a gamble, you could say, but it was an educated risk in my eyes. But you know, it was still a hard one to make at the time. After
did you say 8 years you was at the gym?
Yeah, so I was at the gym from, I think when I was 12 or 13 years old. Ricardo Sam's, good fighter from Nottingham, took me up there in my school holidays for about 6 weeks. I stayed with him and shared a room on a mattress on the floor, and was on microwave rice, and you know how it is. So he took me up there for experience, and he said to me, "Look, you need to come here. When you turn pro, this is where you need to be." So I got into the routine for 6 weeks, talked to Brendan, and as soon as I spoke to Brendan the first day, I knew that's where I was going to go. So obviously it was a hard when I left, because I've been this. That's the only pro gym I'd really stayed at and been at. I sparred at pro gyms in Nottingham and that, but I always knew I was going to go there. So from being 12 up until 29, 30, I was 30 when I left. That's the only gym I seen up until 30 years old. So it was a very hard decision to make. It was hard to leave because of that reason.
And some could argue at that age it was too late, right?
Exactly. I used to get text messages saying, "Look, you're 30 now. You got kids. You need to think about getting a job and making some money, because you can't chase boxing for the rest of your life. You know, you're 30 years old." And people around me that cared about me as well, you know, saying, "Look, maybe you should think about doing this, doing that." And I knew in my head, it wasn't my ability. It wasn't how good I wasn't or was not. It was all about opportunity, getting the opportunity. Because as soon as I knew I got that opportunity, I would run with it, and I'd do it. But it was just frustrating, because it want the things that, so the politics of boxing let me down. My management, you know, the gym I was at. So, and also when I made that move, I've done what normal people do in 10 years. I did in a year and a half.
Sure. I think also, Leigh, talking as a boxing fan and someone in the industry, at that period of time you're talking about, boxing wasn't as exciting, and there wasn't as many opportunities as there are now.
It's always getting bigger.
It's getting bigger and bigger and growing, right? And at that time there, I think, you know, there would have been a lot of casualties with British boxing, where people was just like, "I'm just not getting anywhere. I'm just hanging up the gloves," you know.
Yeah, that's it. And I believe as well. I've always felt in my head, I've always thought, like, as hard as it is, and as much as I wanted to give up, like, in my head, I just thought, this is just a test. This is just a test. You have to go through this to get to that next level. Everyone will get to that level. So this is just testing me. Just stick at it. Trust me. I just felt and knew something was going to come. And I just thought, don't give up. You've worked too hard to give up. You've wanted to do this. In my head, when I turned pro, I said, right, am I going to turn pro, or am I going to get a normal job and just box amateur and enjoy boxing? And in my head, straight away, I was like, right, I want to turn pro. I was like, right, if you're doing this, you're seeing it out. You're going to see it to the end, no matter what. You're going to give everything you've got, and you're going to see it to the end. No quitting when it gets hard. No quitting when you're broke. No quitting when you can't see family and friends, go out on nights out, go on holidays. All these things, you make your decision today, you stick with it. I made that decision when I turned pro. So then, up until right up to the last bit, and it was so, you couldn't even call it stubborn or relentless. I was going to get there no matter what, and I was never going to quit. Whether that opportunity never came, I would still be there, grafting, getting better, waiting for the opportunity. But I made the move. The opportunities came, and when it came, I was good enough because I lived the life and always strive to be a better fighter.
Most definitely. And now the current reigning world champion. Brilliant, great answer, and a lot of depth there, Leigh, for young fighters to listen to and take on board.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I think persistency is key, isn't it? With anything you do,
you've got to be dedicated. You've got to make sacrifices, but at the same time, you've got to keep going. You've got to just keep going.
Most definitely.
Seconds out, round 4.
A good friend of ours told me to mention a certain song to you. With video, we've got a mutual friend called Gavin from Nottingham, who's also a member of UFC Gym up in Notts, and a great supporter of the gym and of yourself and your career. And he sent me a video earlier of Old Mist rolling in from the Trent.
Belter.
I
don't know if you know the Forest version.
That's what he sent me, and he sent me a video. So you're a big, as we go into this question, you're a big Nottingham Forest fan, for those who don't know.
Yeah, I'm a Forest fan. I've been since I was a kid. Obviously, boxing's always been priority, but I've always followed Forest. I've always gone when I can. Living in 2 different cities wasn't always easy going to all the games, especially when I had kids, because I have my girl and my lad on the weekends. So, but I still go down and sometimes take them. I went the other week, and hopefully we've returned a quarter with recent results, hopefully. But yeah, Miss Falling In, if you don't know, it's what's played before the game, and the lyrics was changed early doors, and it goes, obviously the River Trent runs next to the ground, so it obviously Miss Rolling In from the sea. The Forest changed it to City Ground, oh Miss Rolling In from the Trent. Then it goes on, my desire is always to be. And if you've not been to the City Ground and heard this and been part of it, it makes your hairs stand on end, because it's just such an orchestra of the old people in the ground singing it, 30,000 nearly, and it's a good experience if you've not been in. You're from Nottingham, it's a must do.
Brilliant. I watched the video earlier, what he sent me, and you've probably seen the video, and you can actually see the mist rolling in onto the ground.
Sometimes, you can, yeah.
The video which Gavin sent me, and round 4 is about music. I thought I'd throw that in there about the track what a good friend of ours Gavin give us. What is your biggest musical inspiration on Wiley?
I'm not too sure about individual, but I do have a lot of playlists I use for different things in different times and different moods. I'm sure everyone does.
For sure.
I remember growing up, like, Eminem was just massive growing up, training to it, and the lyrics, it was just like it picked you up. But there's so many songs and different. I've gone through, obviously, like I'm 33, so I've gone through different types of music. So I've got older and seen different trends come in and out. But I've got a playlist on my phone which is like a mix of old songs, and it's for my daughter to teach her about music, because obviously she's way behind me, and I don't know how many of them she might know on her own as she grows up. So, I made this playlist of oldish songs, middle-aged songs, just so she knows them. Like, obviously Oasis is on there, things like Mariah Carey. There's such a wide range of diverse music, just to make sure she knows them. Like Uncle Cracker, I think that's a brilliant song that's on there. There's so many on there in this playlist. I'm always adding to it. Also, when I train, or a run. I like to be a bit more probably like rap and trap and a bit more aggressive. And I've got a playlist on there which is more like house music, dance music, which is for when it's hot and you haven't really got to think about the lyrics, it's just more of a beat and stuff. So yeah, depends on what I'm doing, but music's a massive part of my life.
That's one of the reasons we chose, like, these four questions on the FightMad podcast are all, combat sports orientated, whether that's a walkout track or the track, a specific artist, what people train to. Music has such a inspiration within combat sports, whether that's in the gym or out of the gym. But if we could pin it down to one artist or one band, and you was on a desert island and you only had to pick one, who would that be?
That's a hard one. That's a very hard one. Obviously, I come out to Savary. Can't remember the last name. Something Inside So Strong. I come out to that as my song.
Sabi Lifrey.
Lifrey, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also because Nicky Booth came out to that a few times, and I did it as a tribute to him for my British title. Now that song is stuck with me, and that'll be my entrance song for the future as well.
You're going to hold on to that, yeah?
I'll hold on to that, yeah. So it's giving me a bit of identity. So
that's an amazing point that you're going to keep that. Can we just talk about how that will come about, Leigh, and the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, so on the build up to the British title fight, obviously Nicky Booth passed away, and someone tweeted me and said, "Oh, as a kind of testament to him, maybe you should come out to his song." And I just quote tweeted and just said, "Done," I'll do it. And so I did it, and obviously I used to spar with Jason a lot growing up when I was like 15 years old, 15, 14. I've been friends with him since. Such a great guy. I know Nicky had a right battle with a lot of things in his life. But I did used to see him as well coming in and out of the gym. So yeah, I decided to, that'd be a great thing to do, to come out to his entrance track for my British title fight, and I got a lot of feedback, and I really enjoyed the song. It really put me in a place mentally where I needed to be, and really gave me a good feeling from a fight. Then I did it again for the world title fight, and I think now it's gave me my own identity, that track, that entrance track, and I think I should stick with it.
Brilliant. That's amazing. So are we going to go with that track? We're going to go with that as your number one track?
Yeah,
let's lock it in. Let's lock it in. Let's get it out of the way. Lock it in. So, Something Inside So Strong. Is it Libby Sifri? Labby Sifri? It's definitely Sifri, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Great intro. Great song. And funny enough, you was talking about Nottingham Forest. Hairs on your arm going up. It is actually one of them tracks when it means something to you. That track.
It is, yeah. And like everyone says after, like when you're walking out to that, it's quite a special feeling, and seeing it. So yeah, it's special.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that identity has come through that sort of homage, if you like.
Seconds out, round 5.
Round 4 is out the way. We're going into the last and final round. Your corner team for life. We want your corner team for life. 3 people, past or present, who you can pick as your corner team. So we want the names of them 3 individuals and why you would pick them to be in your corner for life.
So, one of my good friends, Sam, I think he would definitely be in there. He's been with me since before I boxed. Around when I was boxing amateur. We met, obviously, he used to come to the gym. He just gives me good advice, and he gets me. He knows what I'm thinking before I say it, someone I can find in, and he just gets me as a person, as a character. He knows what I'm like. He knows what I'm like. He knows what I think about. He knows how to get the best out of me in situations, and he knows things I need to be careful of. He would definitely be in my corner. He's recently moved away to Dubai, so very sad times for me. But we talk all the time. But yeah, I think he would definitely be in there.
This is actually a friend of yours. This isn't Sam Wild from one of your boxing coaches.
No, he has been in my corner before previously.
Okay,
but he's a good friend. Yeah, he's a good friend. He has actually been in my corner. So yeah,
right. Okay,
he's one. Who else? See, there's family members. I've got a great family, but if I put one of them in there, then I'm going to need to put more in there. So. You know,
then you're in trouble.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get in trouble, but I've got some great aunties, some really good aunties, and my mum as well. My mum's key as well. She brought us up on her own for a number of years. I want to give my mum the world, so I'm going to put my mum in there as well. So I'm going to put Sam in there. I'm going to put my mum in there.
Mum's going in. So tell us a little bit about mum and growing up as. When you got into boxing, Leigh, and how supportive mum was, so on and so forth.
You see, my mum didn't want me to box. And at the time, she didn't want to sign my parental responsibility form. So at the time, she was married. So my stepdad at the time, he signed it, Mark. He still comes to my fights now. Obviously, they're been separated for a long time. He still comes to my fights. And at the time, he signed my parental responsibility form to box amateur. Which was quite funny, but no, my mum raised on her own for a long time, three kids on her own, 2 lads and a girl. Obviously, couldn't have been easy. I didn't think I was that hard work. Once I found boxing, I was alright. I was sound, and my brother was a little bit hard work. My sister probably the hardest. I think if my sister come first, there would have been no Leigh or Anthony, so there'd have been no Leigh Wood. But yeah, I mean, my mum's a great, very caring person and puts a lot of people first. She deserves a lot, and I'm going to give her a lot hopefully soon. So yeah, she's in there.
Brilliant. So we're going Sam and Mum. Who's your third man or lady in the corner?
I think myself. Can I put myself in there?
If you want to put yourself, it's funny you say yourself because last week's guest we had Mark Goddard, UFC referee from Birmingham, and. What was the question? What was one of the questions? And he basically wanted to put himself into the question.
I've got some...
and it was like... Yeah, he wanted to put himself into the question, but... Sorry, Leigh, go ahead. You're going to put yourself in.
I've got some great friends. I know a friend I grew up with called Taz, He should be in there as well, but he's actually got a corner license as well. My two closest friends, Taz and Sam, they've both got corner licenses. They're both big parts of my life as well. And I think you have to have a great group of friends. You have to have a great family around you. But most of all, you need to be have it in yourself. You need to have confidence in yourself, confidence in your own decisions, conviction in your decisions. And that's why I put myself in my own corner team. You need to back yourself. First and foremost, because if you don't back yourself, it doesn't matter. Because if everyone in the world backs you, if you don't back yourself, that's a big thing to have, and I think it's a big thing you need.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You got to have confidence in yourself, and
that's it. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying about the decision I made to leave the gym. Like, obviously, my friends always said, "Look, you need to do this." For a long time, my two closest friends were like, "You need to leave," and I was like, no, I can do it here. I want to stay. I want to be loyal. And in the end, though, you make your own decisions, and it's all down to you. Like if I win on fight night, obviously I've got a great team, real team in real life. I won't want to be anywhere else in the world. With Ben Davison and Barry Smith and Lee Wiley, I've got an unbelievable team. But it doesn't matter. It's boxing. Like if you lose, then it's on you. If you win, it's on you. It's kind of like a strange game, but I know for a fact, like my last couple of wins, I wouldn't have done without my team, without my new team down in Essex. But boxing's a bit of a fickle sport. You win, it's on you. You lose, it's on you. So yeah, you need to back yourself. You need to be confident. You need to have a lot of attributes. So mental strength is definitely number one, I think.
Brilliant. So we're going Sam, Mum, and your good self.
Yeah.
For the corner team. Leigh, it's been great having you on the FightMad podcast. As we said at the beginning of the show, Been a little bit of news trickling out the last week. Talk to me. What's going on?
Yeah, so just been announced that Eddie Hearn with Matchroom Boxing has just won the purse bids for my next fight. No location set yet, but it will be new soon. The fight will be against Michael Conlan from Ireland, who is an unbeaten professional fighter who has the interim world title, former Olympian, former world amateur champion. Really good fighter, great skill set. It's going to make an amazing fight, a very exciting fight. It's big, it's massive. Hopefully, we can get in Nottingham. But could be Madison Square Garden in New York. It could be Ireland. Hopefully not. But I'm champion, and I think, in my opinion, you should come to me. But boxing and business don't always work out like that. We could have to go to New York, which is a great away day. It's an iconic venue, one I'd love to fight at one day, regardless if I don't do it next. But for me, I've boxed away now for a number of years. My last fight in Nottingham was 2019. Since that fight, I've improved so much. I've won a British title, a European title, and a world title. I really want to come back to Nottingham and have a bit of a homecoming fight and give this city something to look forward to and to be proud of and to be part of and get excited about.
Brilliant. I mean, if that comes... Well, anywhere it's going to be. First of all, anywhere it goes, it's going to be an amazing fight, right? It's going to be an absolute what I would class as a technical tear up. It's going to be a technical tear up because neither of you are afraid to mix it, and both of you have amazing skill ability. But wherever it goes, I'm sure it's going to be a great show. I'd love to see it come back to Nottingham for yourself, and really look forward to seeing when that's announced. But it's great that Matchroom have got it. Anything you want to say to your fans before we lock off, Leigh?
Some of my fans have been on a really good journey with me from boxing, Clifton Leisure Centre, for small titles that you probably never even heard of, Midlands area. Before that, British Masters, International Masters, area title, Commonwealth, European, British world title. It's been a long journey right from rock bottom. So some of them have seen that whole journey and been part of it. So thank you to them, and I hope you've enjoyed the ride. But don't get off this vessel yet, because there's some big fights left out there. My biggest fights are ahead of me. Next up, Michael Conlan. Everyone that knows me knows what I'm about, and I'm really excited, and I want to put on a great performance and come through this Michael Conlan fight in fashion, and goes towards a super fight with either Kid Galahad or Leo Santa Cruz or even Emmanuel Navarrete. So these fights here are massive compared to where I've come from, and it's been a great journey. So thank you for supporting me all this way, and don't go anywhere yet. Brilliant.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted. Guest number 10, our first ever current world champion, Leigh Wood. Thank you for tuning in, people. It's been the FightMad Podcast, hosted by myself, Joe Long. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a follow on all social media at Fighters Inc. Until the next time, catch you soon.
See you later.